Welcome to Run With It, Canada's running fitness and health program. On this month's episode, I was in conversation with Amy Feind Reeves about her weight loss program, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's go to the Sports Doctor is in segment. Check this out. Joining me today is Dr. Bob Weil, known as Dr. Bob, who is a respected podiatrist and radio host of the Sports Doctor. He's back on the show to talk about the importance of massage therapy. Welcome, Dr. Bob. When we talk about massage therapy, I love it because it's just relaxing and it's good for you, right?
It's very, very good for you. Whether we're looking at the reducing stress, somebody to be able to relax, relieve tension and or anxiety mentally, or whether we're dealing with the body and its ability to recover. There's not a runner alive who doesn't benefit from whether it's twice a month, once a month, even once a week, hands-on soft tissue therapy. And that's why we wanted to highlight this in our the Sports Doctors in segment here with Run With It. And many times we'll see the medical evidence now also, Christine. I've had massage therapy as part of my radio show for decades as one of the big weapons, again, like we talked about, to enhance recovery. There's not a serious sports team in any sport that doesn't include massage therapy for those very reasons. Enhance healing, stimulate recovery, and many times, again, relax. So it's become very, very big in the health and wellness industry, in salons, and I have to tip my hat to my chiropractic colleagues who always have included in their practice, as long as I can remember, massage therapy was part of inclusion. They were way ahead of the medical doctors when it came to the value of soft tissue therapy.
Yes, and I'm thinking too that it can enhance performance, right? And
bingo, yes. When we're talking again about getting the muscles ready to perform, and getting, again, the idea of recovery, getting the waste products out, lymph drainage, and getting stimulating blood into the area is absolutely a big part of the enhancing performance, as is reducing stress. When we talk about on the Sports Doctor, Christine, the new medicine, and number one is eat smarter. Number two is keep moving. And number three is reduce stress. And again, it's hard to beat massage therapy. How often? How aggressive? There's a lot of different types of massage. Again, whether you're talking about the famous sports therapist I spent 4 decades with, the late, great Bob Guida, would use a chiropractic machine called a G5 and to get very deep, very aggressive. He called it vibrational therapy, or very light touch, or other aspects. So we find it very, very valuable, and all your athletes or your running population should look to include. How often do you look at massage in your own repertoire, Christine? Are you monthly? Do you do something every other month? What's your routine?
Well, you know what? I confess. I love massage therapy, but you inspired me because I don't do it that often. But when I do, I feel relaxed. I feel like I can run better, perform better. And I feel it's just an overall working out, because I think it should be part of an athlete's
big
routine.
time, big time. We would have massage. I would have my young figure skaters would be including, again, some soft tissue therapy to, again, stimulate the rest and recovery, which is such a big deal. If you included it once a month, every 3 weeks, you might find at least every other week, you might find very, very great value. Even once a week, it depends on how serious an athlete you are and what your history of problems are. If you said, my back's always bothering me, my legs are a problem, I get shin splints, then it becomes even more valuable. It doesn't replace physical therapy. It doesn't replace smart sports medicine. It's just a big added value in your Run With It world And we would include every other sport at almost every level.
Yes, and Dr. Bob, great information. It's inspiring. I'm going to get out there and do more massage therapy. But for people who are listening and watching the show, where can they reach out to you?
My website, sportsdoctorradio.com. They could find out all sorts of information, who I am, what we do. Again, we have thousands of followers on all the platforms. A very exciting one is Twitter at sportsdoc, DOC radio, but they could find out all that info if they go to sportsdoctorradio.com. And as you know, my show is live every Wednesday, 3 to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. The Sports Doctor, bbsradio.com/The Sports Doctor. Hey, did we get it under the 6-minute time frame or what?
Yes,
All right,
we did.
man.
Thank you, Dr. Bob, for being
always a pleasure. It's always exciting to be part of your run with it.
Yes.
See you next time.
See you next time, Dr. Bob. I'm excited to have as my guest Amy Feind Reeves. She is the CEO and founder of JobCoach Amy. She is a successful entrepreneur, an in-demand career coach, a speaker. She's been featured in Chicago Herald Tribune, Yahoo News, Wall Street Journal, to name a few. And she's also an author and a fitness enthusiast. And she's here today to talk about her career, her book, which is right behind me, College Career Explained, Tools, Skills, and Confidence for Your Job Search. And she's going to talk about how she maintains a healthy lifestyle. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you so much, Christine. I'm thrilled to be here.
Wow, you've been featured in so many magazines, and that's, as I said at the beginning, to name a few. So I would like to know, or viewers and listeners would like to know, what is JobCoach Amy and how did it begin?
So JobCoach Amy is the result of a very long-held passion that came out of a very formative experience I had 35 years ago. When late last century, when I graduated from a very good college with a very good GPA and had done everything I thought I was supposed to do in terms of getting a good GPA and going to a good school and getting good campus leadership experience. And I got out of college. And at that time, everybody who was supposed to be the best and the brightest was supposed to go to Wall Street. So I said, I'm going to try to go to Wall Street. And I did everything I could to try to get onto a Wall Street bank training program. And I failed miserably. And I felt like I had come to an abyss and there was no path charted out for me anymore. I had to figure out what to do on my own. And I was lucky I could type 90 words a minute, which I had spent my summers doing because that's how I could make the most money. And I got a job out of the New York Times classifieds. Ask your parents if you don't know what those are. And I was able to get a job, and I spent as an admin, and I spent the whole year learning everything I could about what the jobs I wanted were about, what you did in them, how you were measured, what the companies actually did. And the next year, right out of the gate, I got the first one I interviewed for. And it turned out I was good at it. I liked it. And what was the difference from the year before, which was nobody had ever told me what I needed to know. And it became something that became an odd but strong passion in my life, which was to help other people get over that hump. And I went on to have a very rewarding and successful career and by many metrics. And I got an MBA. I just fell in love with business. I did a variety of many different things. And whenever somebody came into the office and said, my nephew or my neighbor's kid wants to get into this business, I always raised my hand and said, I'll help them. And about 10 years ago, I married for the second time. And for the first time in my life, I didn't have to be the primary breadwinner. And my husband said, what is it you really want to do? And I knew exactly what it was. And I sketched out what I thought was the most basic common sense methodology I possibly could to really put what I had learned in 30 years on the other side of the interview table for kids to really make that jump, what the resource I wish that I had had 35 years ago. And as it turned out that I could help people at all levels. So I have clients now. My heart is with kids getting out of college, the first couple of years starting their career, but I actually work with clients at all levels and actually with corporations as well in managing millennials and retaining employees. My first book is College to Career Explained, as you have on your shelf, and I do work with college career offices and with students. And I do a lot of work also with first generation college students, which I love, and mentor young women of color as well. And I couldn't be happier. And that's why I started it. I learned it's my second business that I've started, and I'm just enjoying it so much and really hoping that I can make an impact.
Well, you are. I mean, my goodness. I mean, the book is like, it's for everyone, really, right?
It really is. Yeah. I've heard all sorts of people tell me they really get a lot out of it, regardless of where they are in their career.
Yeah. So tell us, it's a guide. It has like interview techniques, for example.
Yeah.
How to write a resume.
Yeah.
Important.
People tell me a resume too. It's one of the more basic things that is eye-opening for people about resumes is a lot of people will use their resume to present themselves and what's great about themselves and how they can be advantageous, what their skills are, but they don't go the final step to saying, here's how I can be advantageous for you, for your company. And that's a really important step. And the way I like to explain it is to turn it around and say, let's say, Christine, you were looking for a job and there was more jobs than there are candidates to fill them, which may be a situation we're in someday. But at any rate, let's say you got 50 applications a day from companies, and they all want you to go work for them. And let's say 48 of them said, here's all the great things about us. And 2 of them said, Christine, here are why we're great for you. We know you care about health and fitness. We care about health and fitness. We know that you love public speaking and talking to people. And here's why we think you'll be a good fit for us, because we'll allow you to do public speaking and talk to people. Wouldn't those 2 jump out right at the top for you? So teaching people how to take that extra step and say, customize it just a little bit, even beginning at the stage of cover letter and resume, and say, not here's how great I am, but here's how I'll be great for you, for your company. And companies are like that too. It really makes a difference. So as a hiring manager, when I saw somebody take that difference and really customize it for me and for the company I was working for, that's what made somebody stand out. And it's a simple fix, but it can make a huge difference. So those are the kinds of really basic common sense things that I learned from the other side of the table that I try to bring to people and what I bring out of my book.
Yes, you certainly do. And when I'm reading through it, it gives you the confidence to go out there, because it's like, it's easy to read. It's very to the point, the tools, and it just makes you feel like you want to read on. So
good.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, that was my goal. And a lot of it is, of course, you don't know what you want to do, even when you're 22, even when you're 32 or 42, because people don't really talk about their jobs when they're not doing them. And so that's an important lesson I want to go through too, is how to kind of get people to talk about their jobs when they're not doing them. I go to Canyon Ranch and do a seminar there where it's kind of a party trick, because I was in so many different industries when I was a consultant and a banker. I know how to figure out from a job title and a company or an industry what somebody actually does every day. So there are so many parents, children, siblings that don't actually know what people around them do, spouses. So, if you were to tell me, my wife works in marketing at a healthcare software firm, and I have no idea what she does. Give me a couple of details and I can tell you what they do during the day, what their goals are, and what probably some of their frustrations are. And it's kind of like nobody ever knows that, because why go through it? You have to use industry jargon. You have to go through, stuff that you don't want to go through when you're not at work. So just figuring out a few ways to ask about what a company does and say, how does your company make money? Who's your client? How do you go about contributing to making that, giving something to that client, adding value to that client? And how do you contribute to making money or having the company save money? Those are the kind of big picture questions that can help you figure it out. So that's another thing I'm proud about of the book, is to help people really figure out, starting from the big picture, what jobs there are and what people around them do.
Yes. And, if you want to copy the book, where can they go, Amy?
Oh, it's sold everywhere online, and Barnes and Noble, as well as Amazon and Apple Books, and
Yes.
pretty much everywhere you can go online. Yeah.
Yes. And now I'd like to talk about your fitness journey. Now, tell us about it. Like, when did you know, like, I want to, be healthier?
Yeah. So that was a concurrent with realizing this passion. At the same time, I went on a fitness journey, and I lost a significant amount of weight. I lost 50 pounds.
Wow.
And I've kept it off. I can tell you, I'm the youngest of 5 girls, and I was always thought, and the older 4 are very skinny. And it was always an issue for me. And for me, I was always kind of the one who was bigger. That happens a lot where there's a lot of kids. The youngest one is always a little bit bigger, so it was always an issue for me. And one day I met a new friend, and my daughter was starting a new school, and there was a woman in the neighborhood who was also starting the school, and we met in the park one day, and she started to tell me how she was going through a divorce. We started to have a real discussion, and I said, "Oh, I've been through a divorce. I'm on my second marriage. I already said that, and it really does make a difference to stay healthy." People said that to me, but I really found when I ate better, I felt a lot better. I had a lot more energy, which I really needed. My daughter was 2 at the time, but her dad left, and she said, "Well, actually, I know that, and I actually have lost 40 pounds." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's so much better than being happily remarried." And so anyway, I was kidding, of course, but anyway, so she had done it. She said, "I did it with no cardio. I did it through weight training." So I said, "I've got to go meet this woman that she weight trained with." So I went. It was outside of Boston. It was literally in a garage bay behind a strip mall on a busy on Route 1 in Boston, which is kind of a busy commercial road. And I met this couple, and they were just so wonderful and knowledgeable about body chemistry and about weightlifting. And of course, I changed my diet significantly, but it just made it so easy. I ate protein and vegetables. I ate 5 times a day, very small meals of protein and vegetables. So I got my macros, I got protein, I got fat, I got carbohydrates in the form of vegetables, and a lot of water and some protein shakes. And it came off. I never had a plateau. I never had any stops. I had, very significant early on, but then I just kept going. And I, when I met this woman, I said, "I don't think I could lose 40 pounds like my new friend, but I do think I could lose 20 pounds. And she looked at me and she said, "Oh, you could easily lose 40 pounds. We'll go for 20. And then you'll see it's so easy. You'll want to keep going." And in fact, I did. And I've mostly kept it off. I mean, it was so easy. I didn't need tricks or gadgets or anything, and I feel so good. And of course, I'm not perfect, and I go back on, and I go a little bit up, and then I'll go before I go back down because I go on vacation and everything else. But just going back to protein and vegetables is so easy. And I am still working out 3 days a week. And of course, I enjoy cardio, things I do with cardio, but just getting in that 3-day-a-week weight workout has really changed for me. And understanding the biochemistry of not getting your insulin up, because anything that raises your blood sugar level will have insulin come and store that blood sugar and help you retain fat. It really is a biochemistry issue, and your food has such a big impact on that. And then also, I think for cardio, we're so trained to think our bodies are going to respond so well to cardio, but I think the truth is that any cardio we do, our bodies get used to so quickly So it's wonderful to run and keep your body fit, of course, but for weight loss, your body adjusts to, we're going to run 2 miles today. Okay, that will keep our weight the same for 2 miles because this is for centuries, we haven't wanted to lose weight. So our bodies adjust to keeping our weight the same if we're running 2 miles. So, but with weightlifting, you can add just a quarter and your body, stresses itself a little more with a quarter pound more, and you just keep adding and adding, and you get stronger and stronger, and your body isn't quite sure how to adjust. So I love the 3 days. I do cardio for fun and because it feels great, and I love my keeping my weight down with the weight loss, and I've also found a great community of women. I grew up playing competitive tennis, and in the 80s, competitive tennis was really kind of a brutal sport. It was really popular, and there was a lot of young women making money on it and getting college scholarships. And I come from a long line of profession. My father and his father had played some professional tennis when it was more of a game than a sport. And I wasn't trained to, my parents didn't pour a lot of money into my lessons or outfits or anything. And I'd kind of go out there and be like, oh, hi, cute dress. And the girls would growl back at me, and I didn't really enjoy it very much. And I think the more popular something is, that the more competitive it is. Weightlifting is a really nice group of really great women who support each other, and I hope it gets more popular. But right now, it's everybody in it seems to be just incredibly supportive of each other, and I've made some great friends, and I just love the group that I found. And the trainer that I'm with is no longer in her little garage bay behind a strip mall. She has 2 of her own studios, and she trains women. Her husband trains men, and they're just so incredibly knowledgeable and wonderful.
Yes, and also too, it's good for your bone density, right? Weight training.
Lots of other things. Yeah, lots of other things. Yeah.
Oh, and how long did it take, Amy, to
5 months. 5 months. Yeah, that was the thing I went to mention. It came off fast. It stayed off. There was no plateaus. Really, it was kind of like, how can this be so simple? You always think, oh, I'm on medication, I'm post-menopause, I'm this, I'm that. This one formula worked. Vegetables and protein, and all my macros, and then gradually I added back in things as a treat. And of course I have ice cream and food and any things like that, and bread when I go out, et cetera. But it's sort of like an 80-20 rule, and everything else is kind of a treat, which is great. Yeah,
you need that. You need a treat day.
Of course.
Exactly, and it keeps you enthusiastic to continue, with your program, and you're inspirational, Amy.
Thank you.
And for people who would like to get advice or tips from you, where should they start, or how can they start if they're just new?
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's a good question. So the group that I'm with, the trainer is named Ellie Sardinia, and the group is The Body Shop. So the Body Shop .com and The Body Shop on Instagram, and they have a lot of tips online, and very supportive of women. And she has pictures of her meals online, and she'll show videos of women training, and that are really inspirational too. So I would recommend people to look for The Body Shop, because that's where I got my training, and where I recommend anybody would not in the Boston area could look for their Instagram.
Thank you, Amy. And what are the benefits now? I mean, you have more energy, but what else?
I guess it's clean eating just makes all of my blood levels. I'm 60 years old, so I go to the doctor regularly, and I do get my all my blood lists and everything are all super improved. And I think the biggest benefit is realizing when I do not eat well, I see it in my skin, I feel it in my energy. It just affects everything. So it's the sluggishness, it's sort of as if I do want to go off, I feel eating wise, which I really think is the biggest component. It just affects every aspect of my life. And I can't really afford it because I want to have the energy to support people. I love the client work I do. I love the pro bono work I do. I love the webinar work that I do. And I really feel like I feel quite passionate about the work that I'm doing. And I really feel as though it's a calling, and I want to have as much energy as I can to help as many people as I can and support, get my message out there that job searching doesn't have to be awful, and that it's something that can be learned. And no, you shouldn't expect to be great at it right out of the gate, but you can learn it. And there are ways to learn it easily. So I want to have as much energy as I can for that. And I have a wonderful daughter too. So I have and I want to be around for her, but for a very long time. So it's kind of easy to get back on the horse after you've enjoyed yourself with something that you really want to enjoy. So staying healthy, staying high energy is what's really important.
I can feel the passion from the screen, the energy. And if people want more information, where can they go?
Well, I'm JobCoachAmy.com, and my socials are mostly, I think, the only one that's a little odd is on TikTok, which is at JobCoachAmy with an underscore, and I'm JobCoach Amy F on Twitter. But everything else, I think, my meta handles are all JobCoach Amy. And the book, of course, is available most places online.
Yeah, check it out, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much, Amy, for your time. And I'd love for you to come back.
I'd love to as well. I have a new book coming out and some other products going up. And I'd be happy to share. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to dig into any specific issues that any of your listeners would like me to cover.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. If you have a question or comment about today's episode, go to our website, which is runwithit.ca. Until next time, run with it.
Run With It is sponsored by Mallory's Fashion Network, the Rio Theater, and Craft Hair Academy.